Welcome to this episode of Celebrity Encounters Podcast. I'm Alan.
I'm Harlan.
And we're here today with a famous author.
Famous
Dianne.
You just know her as Dianne. There's Sting, there's Cher, and now there's Dianne.
That's right. And she's got a book, too, which we'll talk about later.
All right, we're going to talk about the book. You have to sit through the entire podcast to find out.
It's a good tease, right?
Yeah, that's right. You want to find out about this book from this famous author? You got to wait.
That's right. Wait. But
let's not wait for who?
Dianne has a celebrity encounter with somebody that I really enjoyed watching on a sitcom. A very, very popular sitcom, and he is, Dianne?
Maury Amsterdam, Mr. Buddy Sorrell, Dick Van Dyke.
That's right.
Maury Amsterdam from Dick Van Dyke.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love the Dick Van Dyke Show. I still watch it in reruns.
Do you really?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Dick Van Dyke, well, he's still alive. He just celebrated his 100th birthday.
Wow.
So.
Do you want to live to 100?
Oh, it depends.
If I was Dick Van Dyke, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Fair enough.
All the 90-year-old women out here, you know. So.
That's true. See, I would not want to live to be 100 like Dick Van Dyke because he sleeps in separate beds. Because that was the Dick Van Dyke Show.
Right.
That's right.
That's exactly
the wife
right.
slept in separate beds. That sounds very lonely to me. Or maybe that's why he's 100. I don't know.
You know, they wouldn't let them sleep together. That was a no-no back then.
Oh yeah, when TV was black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah, the standards and practices people were very clear of like what you could say, what you couldn't say, where you could sit, how you held hands, or who you slept with, or in this case, in a separate bed.
Well, you know, during the Dick Van Dyke Show, most of his lines were ad-libbed.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
And in fact, when they have interviewed Dick Van Dyke, he says Maury Amsterdam would crack us up because it wasn't in the script, and we would have to take it 3 or 4 times just to get over his ad-libs.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That show was so slick and like clean and perfection as far as like production and values and that kind of stuff. And writing, I would have never expected that. That's really, wow.
Yeah.
Huh, you learn something new every day.
So how did your celebrity encounter mesh with his time?
Because you clearly are too young to have like been hanging out on the Dick Van Dyke Show.
You never know, Harlan.
Oh my goodness.
A lot of good work.
Lake Tahoe is treating you well.
Treat me very well. It's all this mountain air.
High altitudes, yes.
High altitude and high living. I met Maury on a program called Believe You Can and You Can, Walt Disney's New Fantasyland. Well,
Wait. Say that again?
It was called Believe You Can and You Can, Walt Disney's New Fantasyland. And
that was the actual title?
That was the actual title. And it also said From Del Monte.
And so was this a pet project of Disney?
No, it was really an infomercial that they called a TV show that was to introduce the new Fantasyland. Because Fantasyland in 1983 was being rebuilt to make it a little more modern. And but the problem is that at the time we were doing the television show, it was all scaffolded in mud. There was no new Fantasyland. And so we had to use table models at WED, which is Walt Disney, their engineering think tank. And we had to use table models to film this thing. And it starred Maury Amsterdam as this charming character named Mr. Chifferobe, who's kind of a pixie kind of guy wearing a yellow suit and big, long clown shoes. And it also starred as the little girl, Heather O'Rourke, little Carol Ann from Poltergeist. Remember Heather O'Rourke?
Sure.
She was adorable. She could She memorized the whole script. She was 8 years old, and she was an incredible little talent. She was very, very good. So we were
I
lucky.
like how you went from the child star of Poltergeist is the most lovely little girl in the world.
She was really sweet.
Okay, she was clearly they had gotten the demon out of her before she came to set.
Well, this is really, really, really tragic. But you said get the demon out of her. You know, she later, seriously, she later. I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I should not be laughing. You can cut this. But she later did die of. She later did die of sepsis. Truly, she was about, I think, less than 12 years old. She died of sepsis.
Oh
So
my
maybe
gosh.
it was the demon in her. But
Wow. See, that's why I've never done horror shows. I don't want to be around horror shows because I don't want to take the chance of some weird, like, I don't know what, getting inside
bad
this.
juju. It's
What?
bad juju, I think.
At least in my brain it is.
But he went to the new Universal Horror
Oh.
House here in Vegas.
I love a good haunted house experience, but that I know is like actors, that kind of stuff. Like I worked on Friday 13 Part 8. And every moment of that, I was like, I'm going back and just being in the office. I did not want to be on set at all. Okay, so you got the little demon girl, you've got Maury Amsterdam, and what's happening?
Well, we're trying to make this television show, but as I said, Fantasyland didn't really exist. So we made the best of it. We shot around Fantasyland, we shot in the park, and the producer, who was a real nervous Nelly, this guy named Jack, he probably smoked about 4 packs of L&Ms a day, had about 14 cups of coffee loaded with sugar. He weighed about 90 pounds, and he was just a big ball of nerves. Well, Jack was the producer and the writer, and I worked for Jack. And a couple of times I'd go over to his house in Beverly Hills where he had his offices, and he'd be leaning against the back window. They had French doors. And he'd like spin around so fast. Twice he broke the windows to the French doors. It was just a bundle of nerves. Really not the type of personality you need as a producer, right, Harlan? You need to be pretty calm about things when you're producing something. He was not. So he decides that he's going to skimp on the budget, and he's not going to take out the rain insurance. And he keeps telling the executive, you know where this is going.
Oh boy, yes I do.
So he keeps telling the executive producers, it never rains in California. We don't need to worry about it. It's a huge fee. Let's not worry about it, boys. So we get everybody, we're staying at the Anaheim Hotel, some cheapy hotel across from Disneyland. Cast and crew is all there. And it starts raining. And next thing we know, we're going to be trying to shoot that day in around the scaffolding and so forth. But Disneyland has turned torrential. It's turned to mud. The scaffolds are falling down.
Oh.
It's a mess. So they have to put a kibosh
And
on.
nothing sells more of come to Disneyland, the happiest place on earth, than seeing construction things collapse.
It was
and
a
floods.
mess.
Yeah.
And Disney, in the first time in its history, closed the park due to inclement weather.
Wow.
The producer didn't have rain insurance. So everybody's on the clock. Everybody's in the clock. And he's just chewing his fingernails, drinking more coffee, smoking more cigarettes. And Maury Amsterdam is trying to lighten the mood. So he says, hey, Jack, how you doing? And Jack is like, fine. And Maury says, let me tell you a little joke. He tells this joke. He says, so a guy walks into a bar and he says, send that douchebag at the end of the bar a drink. And the bartender says, sir, we do not refer to our women patrons as douchebags. Guy says, I don't care what you call them, just send that douchebag a drink. This is Maury talking. And Jack is like, what the hell? And then Maury says, all right, I'll ask you one last time. get this douchebag down at the bar, end of the bar drink. So the bartender walks over, says, "Madam, the man at the end of the bar would like to buy you a drink. What do you have?" She says, "Vinegar and water."
Oh, damn. I didn't see that one coming.
And that's the joke Maury told. And Jack just looks at him like, what? Here I'm losing, $2,000 an hour, and you come up and tell me this. But he was a sweetheart. And
Well, let me ask about that because, and again, my memory doesn't serve me well because I'm old now. But Maury, when he wasn't on TV, he was was a blue humor comic. Isn't that correct?
I've looked that up, and I don't think he was that much. I think this was actually, but I could be wrong here.
No, I could be wrong too, but that's what I seem to recollect from people that knew him.
I think that may have been, certainly off stage, but I don't think that's how he presented himself off stage.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, that could be. It's like Bob Hackett as an example.
Buddy Hackett.
No. Who am I thinking of? Not Buddy. Oh my God. He was on America's Funniest Home Videos as the host.
Oh, Bob Saget.
Bob Saget, yeah. Bob Saget. Like if you go see his stand-up, he's very blue humor. Very. Yeah. But when he's on TV, he's the old wholesome, good.
He's the dad.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Type of thing. So that's what I was thinking is with Maury, the same thing of like, but okay. And how was he the rest of the time in his yellow suit?
Well, not only did he wear a yellow suit, he also drove a yellow Rolls-Royce it was a convertible Rolls-Royce with brown leather. And he asked me if I'd back it out, and because it was blocking something. And so I backed it out and I hit another car. And I just, oh God. So I look at the back of it and I can see the other car's not damaged, but his Rolls Royce has taken a few chips. And I go in and I say, "Mr. Amsterdam, I'm so sorry, but I scratched your car a little bit." And he said, "Oh, don't worry about it, Diane. Don't worry about it, kid. I do it all the time. I just carry a little paintbrush in the back of the car. It's fine."
So wait a second. That was his actual car? Was a yellow?
That was his actual car. He drove a yellow convertible Rolls Royce.
Wow. And
he could barely see over the top, and neither could I, apparently.
That's why you hit the other car.
Right? It was, even in a convertible, it was hard to see over the trunk.
Was he a little guy?
He was tiny. He was shorter than me, and I'm 5'3". He was probably about 5'2". He was a very short man. Wow. And when we made this film, he was really old. I mean, he was probably in his 80s.
Oh, wow.
His skin was so thin and stretched over his face. He just kind of looked a bit cadaverous.
How'd they come to choose him then? That's a surprising one for me that Disney would choose him.
I know. Well, he was cheap.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah.
That also was Disney
Money
back
talks,
then.
right?
Yeah, for sure.
But
they couldn't afford Dick Van Dyke.
No. It's interesting that they said that he had terrible stage fright on live performances in front of an audience.
Huh.
That he was fine on the set on the Dick Van Dyke Show, but if you put him in front of a live audience, he had terrible stage fright.
Did he start as a stand-up and then get into acting, or was he an actor that?
He was performing stand-up before it was popular. So, yeah, and he had one of the first, in the 50s, one of the first comedy albums.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So.
I had no idea.
You learned something here on Celebrity Encounters podcast.
That's true. Well, from Alan, not me.
Every once in a while, you learn something.
That's true.
Well, it was interesting. I always remembered him, of course, as Buddy Sorrell, Dick Van Dyke. And he just seemed so vibrant and strong and such a, tiger on that show. And always, just so funny against the straight character. What was the straight bald man's name? I think his real name is Richard Osborne, but he
Mel
was such an
Cooley.
Yes, Mel Cooley. Thank you,
Yes.
thank you. Good one, good one. He was such a firebrand, and to see him so many years later when he was so frail, and it. But he still had that spirit. He still had the spirit, but he just seemed very frail to me. But again, always a nice person to have on set. Wanted to make everybody feel happy, everybody feel important. He was that kind of guy. These were real pros.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. I did this pilot with called Annie McDowell's Legends of Hollywood, and I got to meet a bunch of all the golden eras and they were absolutely, like you said, they were absolutely professional. Where, like, they may not be happy, people in their real life, but as soon as they said action, boom, they did their thing. It was very impressive. I don't want to share because there were some really, really mean people to me, frankly. Yeah, I had some very notable person say, "Who the F are you?" And I'm like, "I'm one of the producers trying to help you." Yeah.
Trying to help you look good, mother.
Yeah, no, indeed. Yeah, there were surprisingly some very grumpy old celebrities, but that was then. This is now. And we understand your book just came out. Let's tell us about your book.
So all you people that have stayed this long are going to see.
You're welcome. You're going to be very happy
Yes.
about this.
Dianne, show us your book.
This is called Every Restaurant Tells a Story, Tales of Film, Food, and Fabulous Misadventure. It's about a young woman, a lot like me at that time, who was...
Come on, keep going, you sexy young woman back in the day. Yep. Or no, still today. You look fine.
Are we going there again?
We're going there again. I'm trying to dig
You
myself
look
out.
marvelous.
I'm trying to dig myself out. So you have to watch another episode to understand what we're referring to. But, okay, so tell us more about the book.
Well, it's a collection of short stories about this young woman's dazzling tour through Hollywood, being in all the best places, going to the Cannes Film Festival, trying to get deals made that always come this close to getting made. And it's funny, it's told with heart. And as one of the critics says, every restaurant tells a story is a delicious treat for the senses, notable for excellent use of language and descriptive skill. Everyone, young or old, would be well served to read this book. In troubling times, her stories offer reflective relief.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I
I
like
hope
that.
you'll read it.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
hope you'll read it, guys.
Are the stories, because you said it's a fictitious you that's in it, but do you actually use the real celebrity names?
I wasn't allowed to.
Darn those legal people.
So
You know,
it's based
my-
on fact.
Right.
So.
So help me out, because I think you could say it is based on stories that you had, and drop a few names of who, and then people could try to figure out in the book who those
That's
are.
right. Well, I think they'll recognize Mr. Hanky Panky himself, Tom Hanks.
Okay. Ooh, that's a good one.
Carefully. I
Okay.
think if they're a very sharp reader, they might see Miss Tawny Katane in here.
Okay.
Tawny Katane.
Who could, White Snake video? Come on.
And I think if they're sharp readers, they'll find Michael Douglas, his brother Peter, Michael Keaton, his manager Harry Colombi. Some very
Wow.
interesting folks. Oh, and Mel Brooks, he was down the hall.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Those are good names. And so did you do it like, instead of Tom Hanks, you called the character Hom Tanks?
Very close, Harlan. Very close.
See how
Tom
good and
Hanks.
creative I am. No one would know at home who that is.
No, America's sweetheart, Thom Shanks.
There you go.
Thom Shanks. I
Thom
like
Shanks.
that.
There you go.
That's good. That's good.
That's right. So let's see. Instead of Alan Gerstner, you would be Harlan Friedman.
What's that?
Because
we wear glasses? What is
Here,
it?
let's switch glasses right now.
Hey, fellas,
What's your website,
they are
Dianne?
nice.
Dianne, give us your website.
Oh, it's www.Dianne, two N's, Dianne, Angel, ANGEL.com. And you can go to the publisher directly at www.lostttelegrampress.ca. That's for Canada.
But the good news about it is, whatever your book costs, it's worth it.
That's right, Harlan. That's absolutely right. But I am glad you brought up the tariff issue because our little president is stirring things up again, making friends all over the world as he does.
I bet you he's got some celebrity encounters, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's called the Epstein Files.
Oh, God, I was afraid you were going to go there. Okay. On that happy note, everybody, thank you for watching Celebrity Encounters podcast. I'm Harlan.
I'm Alan.
And this is Dianne. Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in today. And if you enjoyed our show, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast on all your favorite platforms. We'll see you next week with the next episode of Celebrity Encounter Podcast.